What's up, guys? Welcome back to F1 America.
Live from the paddock.
Live from the paddock, baby. Australian GP. We got a lot to talk about. A lot of spicy.
It was
It was a banger.
That was fair. I fell asleep during it, to be honest. I think I fell asleep like halfway through.
I think I fell asleep and had to restart like the last little bit too.
Randa says she woke up and saw like the last lap or something like that. Or I think she saw George crashing or something like that. Yeah. So, no, it was definitely a lot of unexpected stuff.
Yeah.
Max's reign came to an end.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were
no chance of undefeated season.
Yeah, that's the only thing I was sad about. But I mean, whatever. It's still next year. He could do it. He could still do it next year because we're still going to be in the same car. So,
yeah.
Which is shocking. I mean, I'm not mad at it. I'm not happy about it either. I feel like way too many people were super excited that, oh yeah, Max had a failure, which I mean could have been really bad. I mean, the car could have caught on fire. You know what I mean?
Me, I'm one of those people.
Oh, I don't even want to get into our text messages back and forth. I was just about to punch you through a text message.
Yeah, but you thought I was saying something I wasn't even saying.
Well, you were saying that Fernando's a dirty driver. He's not a dirty driver.
He's pretty dirty.
Give me an example.
I say
he defends like a leon.
I say dirty loosely. Like
dirty,
yeah. I think Max is like dangerous dirty, or maybe not anymore, but like
I still don't even. I think he was he was aggressive, but I don't necessarily think he was. I think every sport needs that a little bit of aggression to liven it up. I mean, Lewis hasn't been challenged like that in God knows how long. That 21 season, right? So
yeah, even before then, and not just Lewis.
Which I mean, he did take his own teammates out, or they, like Max and Daniel. But
well, I mean,
so they get paid the big bucks.
Lewis and Rosberg too.
Yeah, no, yeah. So everybody's done it at some point.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's just the era.
Well, so. The clip I was talking about with Max and Lewis.
Yeah,
Max actually like hit the brakes, and Lewis ran into the back.
Why would he brake check him though? Well, that makes zero sense from any type of racing perspective at all.
In which scenario? This current one with George?
All the above, all of them.
Well, the one with Lewis, Max passed him off track. And so he had to give the place back, but he wasn't giving the place back. And so apparently he was told to, but Lewis didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
So Lewis was like behind him on one of the straights. So Max was trying to do it strategically to where he didn't give him DRS.
Right.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
But then Lewis is kind of on him, and he like hits the brake, and Lewis hits the back of him. It breaks his wing.
Did he actually hit him though?
Yeah. He clipped him. He like swerved, but he still hit him. And then Max took off. So then Max stayed ahead of him. That was super sketch. Alonso clearly slowed down.
Yeah.
Compared, like I saw like the lap comparison.
I didn't see that video. But Alonso's comment on it too. He's like, we're never driving at 100% capacity all the time, right? So that was my biggest takeaway. And my biggest takeaway, actually, back that up, is Alonso's in front. He can do whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah.
He doesn't necessarily need to worry about what to do for the guy behind him.
Well, I mean, there are some rules, right? Like you can't move under braking a bunch, right? Like there's different things. I just thought that was a really weird corner because you're not passing on that corner. It's a pretty high-speed corner.
Yeah, I know.
And maybe that's why it was, I guess, given a penalty because it's a fairly high-speed corner and he wasn't going as fast.
Jesus through it. He wasn't going Muhammad instead. He was still going.
Yeah.
He wasn't going slow. If anything, he lifted and coasted in the corner. He didn't.
That's more what it seemed like. He definitely didn't hit the brake.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a Max,
Yeah.
And by the way, Max didn't even get a penalty for that year.
Mm-hmm.
And Alonso gets 20 seconds and 3 points in the championship.
Yeah.
I thought that was aggressive.
I think it's any racer, you're not necessarily looking behind you, right? Like, yes, they have mirrors and they do it to defend somewhat. Like, and obviously Alonso is one of the best defending drivers I think I've ever seen. But there's no reason in that circumstance. You're going through a corner. You're not looking in the mirrors at all. You're paying attention where you're exiting and where you're like tracking. Yeah. He was in the racing line. he wasn't. There's no way George was going to pass him right there, anyways. So
Well,
it's like,
yeah.
and if George was worried about the dirty air, he should have backed off more. Like if he can't drive in the dirty air, which George is now known for multiple occasions not being able to handle the
On like
pressure
the last lap,
on the
or
last lap.
2 laps.
So like, no, I mean, I just think
I
George is
honestly, like, I watched it live.
Mhm.
I never, it never crossed my mind until I saw it today and was like, wait, is this? I thought somebody was trolling. I was like,
Yeah.
what is this for?
Yeah, when
And
I
then-
saw it, I watched the video. I watched the
Yeah.
clip from it like 4 times. I'm like, no, that's a bullshit.
I saw the difference. So F1 like Instagram shows like lap 56 versus lap 57.
Mhm.
You can tell that he does slow down significantly, but not like a brake check. Not like I think the penalty was bullshit, honestly.
Yeah, that's really one
I
thing
just-
that we'll agree on this whole entire show. But no, yeah, just that's what I
Yeah.
don't understand. Like, it's not like he moved from out of nowhere and over, and like he was giving him position.
Well, and he wasn't
swerving. Yeah,
not at all. He was on the racing line the whole time. I think he just coasted. But I mean, how many times do sometimes drivers coast to save gas? Maybe
That's what
he
he
was
said,
low
yeah.
on gas.
He said,
And he had, is that what he said?
tire. He's like, sometimes we coast to preserve tires or
Right.
fuel,
right.
or the temperatures. Like we're trying to cool stuff down. We're never at
Totally.
100% all the time. So every lap,
Right, unless you're max and
or
you're
every
oh,
section of the
yeah,
lap,
right.
That. So it's like he saw an opportunity, and it's very well too. Like he could have been just carrying corner speed. He's like, cool, I'm gonna lift early, but I'm also not gonna touch the brakes as much, so I'm gonna carry more corner speed.
Well, and then he could maybe get on the gas
yes
faster on the exit.
and that's
too,
that's another thing he said. He's like, and Alonso's known for carrying a lot of corner speed, so it's like, yeah, it was bullshit.
Yeah, like I said, I could see the difference in the 2 laps, but I didn't see anything dirty or anything like that warranted a fucking penalty, let alone.
I mean, if I'm driving down the
20
freeway and
seconds.
I don't see you here, I'm coming over. I'm not getting on the brakes for you. I'm not looking where you're at.
Yeah, I mean, his lane assist didn't go off.
No, yeah, exactly.
George Russell's automatic brakes didn't go on.
Yeah, shit.
It's like, I mean, George has got to know he's coming up on him a little fast. Like, I think George is just overly aggressive sometimes in not necessarily the most calculated ways.
I think you saw the carrot, and he was just like, "Yeah, I'm going for it." Or he's the guy
Because I
that
think it was
chasing
a
after the
few
rabbit.
turns
He's like, "Oh, it's over
before. Like originally, I was telling you, like, oh well, maybe he brake checked him a few turns before. Because I remember a few turns before, he was right on his ass, and then he didn't get out of the corner. You know, like sometimes if you brake late, you get right on him, but
then
you're
they lead you coming out of the corner.
like you're just not quite as quick on the gas on the way out because you're gonna send it. You know, you're gonna slide, and so that's all it seemed like, that issue. And I think he just got impatient.
You see his car like lift a little bit, George's like on the onboard. You see it like lift and just like step out. It was like super weird. So I don't know if there's like it caught air off the back of his car.
It could. I mean,
like
right?
or like maybe and it could have even been a crosswind because it's been windy all weekend. So he could have got a breeze from some direction, whether it's tail, side.
He could have had like a slipstream, and then lost it when Alonso went around the corner, and that could screw.
As soon as he started to turn, his you see his like kind of car shake, like do like a head shake, and then he's getting shit whipped. I just think it was poor driving on George's part. I mean,
yeah, I think.
Then did you see the clip where he's like red flag, red flag, red flag, like
I'm
in the middle of the track, which don't get me wrong, terrifying, especially in that sense. Like at least in moto, you can get up and move really quickly. Versus that, you're just there.
And he's kind of around that high speed corner still.
Yeah, so I mean, I get that, but he was definitely like in F1. The technology is there, right?
Cut
it's
the race
not
right now.
Yeah, he was acting. I mean, if I what was he with P6? It would have been P6, right? 5 maybe at most.
I don't. Yeah.
So I mean, yes, he had the whole field behind him, but they were still so far ahead of everybody that there was definitely time for the BSC to in the yellow flags.
Yeah.
The yellow flags happen so fast that it's like everybody roughly knows. Like,
yeah, usually. I mean, but how many years have people died because of stuff? I don't. I don't blame him for saying that. It's just it was kind of funny.
I'm curious who like came up with the penalty though. Did Mercedes say something,
Yeah,
or was it
that would
FIA
be
on its
my
own?
guess. My guess is that they went in and looked at all the shit after the fact and
Yeah.
were like, "Hey,
Oh, that's why I don't like Mercedes.
they all do it though.
Yeah, actually,
They
speaking of
all do it."
Mercedes, I saw a comment that Toto is waiting for Max to decide, basically.
Oh, really?
I saw that there's a comment out there that he's like, we're just waiting on him. So I'm sure the numbers have gotten tossed to him. I'm sure they've been like, oh,
Of course, especially with all the drama going on in Red Bull.
Max is downplaying it really well, though. He's like, oh, I have no reason to leave. So,
yeah, but maybe he's good at playing the game too, because he knows if he outsteps, Christian's gonna fuck him, because Christian fucks all the drivers.
do I mean?
I think so. I think because Christian will take it personally,
Yeah,
even though he's stated on the outside that like, well, nobody's bigger than the team, all this stuff, blah blah. This, I built whatever.
Yeah,
you know that he's gonna take it personally because he's emotional. So if Max ends up leaving his golden child, he's gonna take it personally.
You gotta know it's gonna come to an end eventually. So unless he thinks like I'm gonna run with this for 10 years, but
I don't know. I mean, they've been on a really good run.
I also heard that Sergio maybe have inked a new deal with, and they've signed him already. I read that somewhere too.
Who? Mercedes?
No, Red Bull has re-signed Sergio.
What?
Or he got offered. I don't know if he re-signed, but he got offered.
Well, also Alex Albon got offered too. Apparently,
I know. That's what I don't know. So something's not adding up. Either
Yeah,
Max is
things
gone,
aren't
or
adding up.
I don't know.
Interesting. Well, also apparently, Danny Rick got the ultimatum too, right? Is that?
Yeah,
do we know if there's any
that was fake
validity?
news. That was
A lot of people have been posting it on.
Yeah, it was fake
Instagram.
news. Some guy's favorite driver is Liam, and so he was a Kiwi, so he happened to put out an article, and everybody jumped at the opportunity.
I think because we all want to see Liam.
But they're swapping out the wrong driver. That's the problem. But Liam's agent even said like we don't even know where this story came from.
Yeah,
so
that's kind of
they squashed it really quick.
That's kind of what I figured. I think people want to see Liam, and well, we all love Danny. So if he's gonna get kicked from the grid again,
yeah,
like people are gonna be emotional about that too, right?
Yeah, talk about like that's like going through a divorce or something.
Oh, right, yeah, like we just got, and especially all these like hopes of like, oh, he drove the RB18 like as fast as Max and all this stuff, and he's gonna get a shot at the big seed again.
So clearly he has the talent to do it.
Yeah.
So something's not adding
up.
Is
Yuki outperforming him?
The last couple weeks.
Is,
last couple weeks he has. Not by much though. Like the first race
by a lot. Yeah.
First race was not. They were equal, if not Daniel was faster because he was catching obviously. And then I think last week, not Australia. The week before that, so Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
He outperformed him not by much, and then this weekend he was clearly faster. I think both the last 2 weekends though he's made it to Q3. Yuki has, and then I think he's also gotten points, but he's barely gotten points. Like once he got 10th, and then this weekend he got a gimme by George crashing out, and Daniel came from 18th to 12th. I feel like that shows you more than Yuki starting in the points and ending in the points and ending 9th or 6th or whatever he ended up.
Yeah. I think the RB is just not that great. And weren't they supposed to get last year's car?
That's what I was told. Or like they didn't call me up and tell me, "Hey, Tristan, we're giving them this car." But they said that
we're blowing up so much that
we're getting the iteration.
We're now getting personal phone calls.
Yeah, Christian really loves those.
Christian loves, especially me. I just talk so highly of.
Yeah. I don't know. I read that they were supposed to get basically last year's car, which I mean everybody else might have made gains, right?
Well, and I think everybody has. But I think everybody has made gains, and I'm sure they still have to have like their own aero or their own,
There's something different though. I think there's something going on that like we don't know about necessarily, because I find it hard to believe that Daniel is that far off of Yuki. You know what I mean? Also, when they go to do the practice and the qualies, or mainly the practice sessions, they're all over the place when it comes to testing times and shit like that. Because like
But
FP1,
all
Daniel's
the
fast as
teams
hell.
are.
Yeah, they're all over the place. Like Daniel's on
I
a
feel
long
like
run.
this has been the hardest season to try and figure out fantasy too.
Oh yeah.
Well, I say hardest. I mean, it's our second.
It's
But
it's way harder this
the
year.
points is different,
Mm-hmm.
so it's harder to like. You can't just pick some of the top.
The dollar figures.
The dollar figure
Yeah.
is harder. Yeah, like it's higher for drivers and stuff, so you're limited.
Yeah. So you can't have like a baller team and a baller driver. You either have baller
You're
teams
kinda-
or you
Yeah,
have
kind of splitting.
a baller driver.
Yeah,
Something I just thought about and I can't remember now.
yeah. So Max went out in what, like lap
3.
lap 3? I think it was ended up being 5, but everybody's
Yeah.
saying 3. And then George crashed at the very end.
And Lewis with the
And
motor
Lewis
problem.
had the motor go out.
Yeah.
So like both Mercedes gone, Red Bull gone. I think those were the only 3 retirements though, right?
Yes.
I think everybody else. But I like Kick isn't looking good.
Yeah, they really screwed this.
Alpine looked better. Well, Gasly looked better, but still as a whole, they looked terrible.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I don't know.
This is their worst start
I
since
guess-
like 2016.
Yeah.
Series.
Yeah. I'd say the highlight was Ferrari 1-2.
That was good.
Right.
Sure, Charles was thrilled.
Sainz is the only driver to win other than Max since early last year.
Yeah, same thing because he's Singapore. So
yeah, he was the only one to win outside of a Red Bull last year.
Yeah,
and now he's won this race.
And he's driverless or jobless.
And he doesn't have a drive next year.
He's
gonna
there's
get
there's something in the works. We just don't. He hasn't
Yeah.
thrown his cards out there yet, or they're waiting for somebody else to ink their deal before they.
Yeah, man. And honestly,
I'd be really surprised a 2-time winner in the last 2 years.
I like Charles, but I think Sainz has been out driving him the past couple seasons.
Yeah, I'd say the last 2. There's that one year when Charles was getting a lot of poles
Yeah.
when they first went to this car.
Yeah.
He was getting a lot of poles and he was faster than Carlos.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, but even now Carlos is beating him on pole position on quite a few too.
Yeah.
And I don't think Charles is driving bad or not performing. I think he's doing great too.
Mm.
I think the reliability of the car has really improved a ton.
Right.
I think their strategies improved a ton. I think having Fred Vasseur on the as team principal really ignited the whole team a lot too.
I'm curious though, is it Fred that like kind of helped all this reliability, all this shit, or was it just like, hey, you happen to like that year you guys bought a bad batch of materials? Like, was it really? How much of it was Benito's fault?
Well, how long was Benito
Benito's there for a minute.
principal, and they were not doing great.
Right.
So, like, is it all up to Fred? Like,
I'm sure he has some influence. He's like, hey, we were getting our shit from here. Like,
Yeah.
something to consider.
Yeah. Like, it can't all. Nothing's really, like, in any of the teams, nothing's a testament to just one person. Right? Like, everybody has to be doing a pretty good collaborative job. Like, even for Max to be winning, they've got to develop a good car. And, like, you know, the principal's got to have good strategy and all the things. Like, there's a lot that has to align.
That was the one thing I was curious about, though. It's like, how much does it fall under? How much does it fall under the principal, right? Like I said, did Benito get a couple bad years of bad quality materials?
Yeah.
Did Fred? Did everybody just happen to click?
Bad mechanics?
I don't know. Or bad strategists? Like, I don't know what happened. So, definitely crazy. It doesn't.
Well, and I'm wondering, like, you know, a lot of corporations, let's say they get a new CEO, and they fire a bunch of people, and they bring in their own staff, right? And then they build the company or whatever. I wonder if that's sort of the same thing as, like, the team principal comes in and is like, hey, I'm bringing this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy, or are they kind of?
I think to an extent, right? Like, say Christian were to go take over Ferrari, I'm sure he's bringing Adrian with him. Right.
Yeah,
there's probably a couple guys.
Right.
I don't know that when you're coming from the farm team up to the big leagues, like, are you really going to take anybody from, maybe unless they deserve promotion? But I feel like we would have heard about that at some point. Like, oh, Benito and the engineers are gone, and now Fred and his guys are coming up. I didn't remember hearing about that. I could be wrong.
I don't remember.
Maybe it wasn't as shiny, so that's why it wasn't reported. So it could. I'm sure maybe somebody got promoted with them.
Yeah.
What else was I going to talk about here? Oh, some
It's like
sick
the biggest
lids.
news.
There were some sick lids in Oz.
Was it Danny had all the kangaroos, or was that?
No, Danny had the. It was like the. It was almost like his family farm. He had the honey badger on it. It was like all like the kind of tall brush grass. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
His was sick. The stakeout, the Aussie stakeout with the weenies, Valtteri's helmet. That was pretty fun. And he had like koalas and shit on it.
Yeah.
I think he had kangaroos on it too.
Maybe that's the one I was thinking of.
Who was the other one? I can't remember the other one. Was it? It might have been Oscar's.
I think Oscar had
sick
for his home race too.
Did you see the Uber commercial for Valtteri?
Oh, yeah, I sent it to you.
Yeah, you sent it to me.
I sent it to you. Oh god.
Did you see the outtakes from it?
Maybe it's some.
The outtakes are pretty fun.
I have to go look. Yeah, it's probably on his page, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he shared it or somebody collabed with him on it. So,
dude, I think like we've always liked Valtteri, but I just think he's really excelled as far as like personality.
With that statement,
you haven't always liked him
with the beginning portion. I thought he was just like yes man to Mercedes.
Yeah, I mean, kind of
number
was
two,
right?
like wasn't allowed to win, like, and he was just like fuck, this sucks for this guy. Like he's fast some days, and like he gets shut down so much to be second fiddle.
He definitely got screwed, I think, by the team. I liked that he was a team player because I liked Lewis, but I also liked when he said "fuck you" and still won, right? And like, well, and to anybody who like to whom it may concern, fuck you. I think that got a lot more respect for me as like an individual,
right? Well, he's even said too, like with the mullet and everything he's doing now, like he's like, yeah, I definitely wouldn't have done this at Mercedes. Like it's just like he's like now I could feel like I've matured and I could just grow into my own person.
Yeah,
and I think that probably offsets his results, right? Like he's probably way better branding now than he was then, or just two different eras of branding, like clean cut soldier, and now he's like,
well, and
the freelance. Like,
and hey, like he doesn't really have a great car, so he's got to have some fulfillment in life, you know. So, and I think he's like just taking it as an opportunity to excel as himself in personal development.
Valtteri, if you will ever watch this,
come on the show.
Derek doesn't drink, but I want to try your gin.
I would try it.
Oh God,
I'll try. I don't drink, but I don't have a problem with alcohol. Like I'll try it.
I have a problem with alcohol.
I'll have Lewis's tequila. It's non-alcoholic.
Yeah, non-alcoholic waste of space.
I love tequila. I love mezcal.
Do you like tequila?
Yeah.
We went to this.
So I never started. You know, like most people who hate tequila had like early days with like Jose Cuervo.
Yeah, the shit.
I didn't start drinking tequila till I was much older, and so it was like nicer stuff. And then I developed, and I never had like a really nasty. Like,
I've had some really good tequilas, but I've also had some really shitty tequilas, especially like the Ensenada Booze Cruise. Like those, that's some rough days. But we went to this the other day. We went to a concert, and we went to this bar called Ghost Donkey. It's like a Mexican bar down in downtown.
Ghost Donkey.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was like big vibes. Big vibes. Like I don't know if Brandon still has the video. I'll have to send it to you. Okay. But I got this like it was like a Moscow Mule, but it was a tequila version, like a Mexican version. Yeah. And can I say that? Am I gonna have to bleep this out? Mexican.
I don't think Mexicans racist.
I'm just saying. You don't know.
I know. I had to edit you some.
Did you the other one?
I edited the Japanese one. Not obviously Japanese, but
I won't have to make you edit this one more.
Dude, it's not. Get off.
You know, we need a bloopers. We need a bloopers episode. So, anyways, I tried this mule with tequila. It was. I just wasn't like. I don't know. Me personally, like I know people like love margaritas. I'm not a big margarita fan. I've had one or two here or there that are really good, but they're normally drowned out by other flavors. I don't like
a lot of it taste like of tequila. That sour, the sweet and sour, and like all the sugar, and I don't know. I like them, but I like them more alcohol heavy than like the syrup heavy.
Yeah, I remember we were in Puerto Rota one year. We stopped. We got this. It was a mango margarita at this place, and it was so good.
That sounds good.
It was great.
But also, I do love gin. A lot of people don't like gin.
Raina was all about gins for a while because then that's all they were drinking, gin fizzes in Europe when she was there when she was studying abroad. So they're gin fizz.
Gin would be I
have a huge bottle of gin at my house right now, actually.
Do you?
Yeah, the Kirkland bottle. My grandma gave it to me, and I've been slowly creaking through
it. I think that's essentially like Tanqueray. It's either that or New Amsterdam.
Their vodka is Grey Goose.
Grey Goose, yeah, exactly.
Side I know.
Sidebar: if you actually want good alcohol, go to Costco because they just private label.
I'm surprised they haven't gotten sued for that because Titleist, because they Pro V1s, Titleist sued them over the Pro V1 Kirkland golf ball.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I wonder if they just.
I figured they must have some sort of deal.
That's what I thought too.
Like they have to.
Well, obviously not with Titleist suing them.
I guess.
Yeah. So.
Unless there could have been
actually
maybe they had a deal and then they overstepped in some way.
TaylorMade's suing them over their irons too right now. Fun fact. Yeah.
Dude,
because they're like very close in similar design to their newer irons. Fun fact if you didn't know.
You heard it here
I don't know. Well, actually, no. There's probably a lot of F1 guys that follow golf because of Lando and Carlos. There's a handful of golfers. You know who has a horrendous golf swing is Pierre Gasly. That was rough.
On a full swing
that
or whatever.
Is rough. No, they did the Netflix live event before the F1 race.
Yeah.
And then I've seen a couple videos of him golfing because he golfed with was it Liv or he golfed with some people too. He posted some videos and I was like, "Here, we need to work on your swing, brother. You look a little tight. Like it's just not pretty. I mean, mine's not great either, but I feel like mine does not look that bad. Yeah. So sorry, Pierre. Pierre's grown on me though. I will say that. Compared in the last year or two, I think it sucks that he's at a shit team, but
yeah. I like Pierre.
Actually, speaking of that shit team, I did hear a rumor.
Are they looking for more investors?
Shit. I did hear that they could be out.
Alpine?
Yeah.
Well, somebody was thinking about buying them out, right?
Like what?
It's not BMW, but it's something like that. I think somebody's trying to come back into F1, right?
No, I heard a potential prospect was Andretti.
Oh, Cadillac?
Yeah. That could be the
we said that they should be buying it.
Yeah, which is stupid though. Like there's only like 2 tracks that wouldn't allow for this many teams. Like there's 2 tracks that you don't need more teams, but every other track I think you could add 2 more cars to the grid and nobody's gonna be mad about it. Coda,
Monaco,
great. Yeah, Monaco.
Is like
we're gonna have to do qualifying bases. If you don't qualify, then you don't race or something. I'm telling you, dude. We need to scale the cars. We need to have a scaled down race. Fuck it, we'll just race go-karts at Monaco. That's even better. Just high tech go-karts. Go-karts.
Yeah, that would be dumb.
Lost my train of thought. But yeah, I read the rumor that it would open the door for Andretti, which is shitty. I just don't think it should be like that. I think it's politics.
Well, because we just think that they should have their own fucking team. They got accepted, all the shit. Like they provided everything that they needed, and then it just came down to a political no, basically.
Yeah. Actually, I saw a clip. Did I send you that clip of Kyle Larson?
If they took over Alpine, I wouldn't be mad about it.
Not Kyle Larson. I forgot the dude's name. NASCAR driver, really popular NASCAR driver. Did I send you that clip? I think it was the McCaffrey show was interviewing him. He was like, "Hey, when are you gonna go over to F1 and dominate?" And I was like, "Chill, dog, chill." But anyways, I was like, "Oh, that's a good question." And McCaffrey's like, "Oh yeah, that's good." He's like, "I love this question." And the driver, he's one of the biggest names. I can't think of it. If you haven't actually watched the Full Throttle though, go watch that. That was pretty good. Shameless plug. We're not getting paid for that. But yeah, he's like, I would love to go jump on one of those cars and go race it. The problem is you need like a 2-year runway to get your super license approved. But and you need to like there's a lot of politics, and he straight up called that out, which I was like, that's great.
Yeah.
He's like, so unfortunately, like it probably won't happen anytime soon. But the one thing I will say is it's weird that he's like they can come jump over here and race NASCAR instantly. I have 2 different thought processes on that. I don't think you could take the last place guy for NASCAR and go throw him in an F1 car if you wanted to. Yeah. I definitely don't think that's a good idea. Do I think there should be maybe some easier transferability? For sure. Yeah. I think like there should be like some, hey, you won the Indy or you won so many titles.
Yeah, it's almost like, even more like Indy because Indy's a lot closer to a Formula One.
Yeah,
like open wheel versus NASCAR.
Oh, actually, I got a lot of shit I want to talk about right now. He did say he's like he would consider doing Indy. He's like he would love to do the Indy 500. So that's cool to see him like express interest. Like he's not locked into NASCAR, right? Yeah. So I would like to see them do that. The comments were actually pretty hilarious. Like it was kind of 50-50. Like actually, it's probably like 70-30. 30% of the people were like, "Oh yeah, he'll go dominate and be great over there," and then 70% were like, you need to calm down. These rednecks can't drive that. Like, you don't expect them to have success over there instantly.
Yeah.
I think it would totally depend on what team, right? Like, if he goes and jumps in a Haas, he's not going to go dominate in the Haas.
Yeah.
If he goes and jumps in one of a Ferrari, a Red Bull, a Mercedes, like, I think he could be competitive, but I don't know
what the learning curve would be, from a NASCAR car to a Formula One car. Because a lot of those guys, like a Formula One car is more similar to a go-kart than it is an actual car, right? And all those F1 guys race go-karts all the way up until they got to F4, F3, F2, and I wonder, like, that car is so much different than a NASCAR car.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is that they would do really good at is that they are so big on setup. NASCAR is. So I think some of the guys could do really well.
They could diagnose.
Yeah, they could be very similar to like the video that you see about Kimmy. Like Kimmy knew there was a crack on the side of the car in the chassis.
Yeah.
They didn't believe him until they got it back to the factory and they were like, "Oh shit, you're right. There was a crack. How did you know that?" I think those guys would be able to maybe help. I could be totally wrong though. They are really good at setup, but like it could be so foreign. It'd be like driving a spaceship, you know?
Right.
I mean?
Yeah. It's so different. That's
what
I'm wondering.
That's what I don't.
But I think if you're just a good racer in general, you kind of have that instinct to know, like, even us. I feel like, let's say, on the racing simulator, or even driving on a controller for F1, right? Like in the game, when you're about to break loose the tires,
right.
Like you get a feel, and the more you do it, you can hone that in. You start going faster and faster and faster because you can push that limit, and you're a little bit feathering, a little bit smoother.
Yeah, you roll on things. More versus and like slamming it or stabbing it.
And I wonder how much maybe would be fitness too, right? Like, because the G-force in a Formula One car is, I think, pretty significant compared to NASCAR.
I definitely know there's some, and I think, NASCAR now is not like it used to be. Like, I think everybody thought, like, oh, NASCAR is just a bunch of fat rednecks drinking Busch Light and going in a circle.
I think it's definitely come up a lot more.
They've definitely come up, and you see those guys definitely. Like, the guys that are
now they have some road courses, which I think is cool.
Yeah.
So they're definitely having to use a lot more setup there than just the oval, right?
Yeah. They've done a handful of road courses, but I think road courses are becoming more popular now than before. Like growing up, they only did like one or two, and then when my dad would watch it,
it was like Sears Point or something like that.
Yeah, and I think they would do the one in Sonoma. That one was like a popular one for a long time, and then now they do Coda, Sonoma, the Roval. There's definitely a handful out there. So it's cool to hear him like express like, yeah, he's down for it. I don't think he can really compare like, oh, why can they come here and we can't go there? I think you're two totally different worlds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's all. Oh man, it's like
and you also like that's a world platform. Like if NASCAR is going to South America and Europe, right? And there's
like F1 is so big, and so hard to get into, and so I guess elite, right?
Yeah.
It's elite on it's elite on every level, not just the athletes, not just the car development, but it's also elite on like people and money and status and all of those things, where NASCAR doesn't give a shit, come and race, kind of a thing.
To an extent,
I think they've seen the success that F1's having, and they're starting to implement a little bit more of that.
Well, I think too, it only is going to help them if they have. Oh, if Danny Rick wants to come over, it's going to blow NASCAR up in a heartbeat.
Because NASCAR drivers are really big in the U.S.
Yeah.
F1 drivers are really big in the world.
Yeah.
And it's like it's
everywhere but the U.S.
Caliber.
Which I mean, don't get me wrong, the U.S. is a huge population in comparison to the world.
Well, now I mean, we have 3 fucking races. No other country has 3 F1 races.
Yeah. But if you look at it like the size of, say, Texas, for example, that's like half of Europe. Just the state of Texas. Big. Versus like, and I actually saw a pretty funny video, like a European was here and he's like, everybody thinks that we're not well versed in travel. Like, no, we're like, Americans are great at travel, but they just don't leave their country because their country's so damn big. Like, I can go to 20 different countries in the matter of an hour flight in Europe. But here, I take a 4-hour flight to go from one side to the other.
You're still in the same state.
Yeah, you're still you're still in the same country. You know what I mean? So it's like
Well, and I think too, what's cool and unique about the U.S. is like for me, I always was fascinated with Europe and old like Spain and all of the stuff. Like I always wanted to leave the U.S. just because it fascinated me. And now as I get older and I've done some world travel, don't get me wrong, I want to do more because I love seeing the world. But I started appreciating the U.S. a lot more because it's so unique in that like how many different ecosystems do we have even in different states.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can have the desert, you can have the mountains, you can have like the plains, everything all in one state,
Mm-hmm.
where a lot of these countries don't because they're so small. Like we're so big and vast, and how many like national parks and monuments and different things we have to see. It's like, man, you could spend years and years just traveling around all the states to see the cool stuff.
Right, right.
Even though our history is really young.
Yeah. Actually, one other thing I heard, I have a feeling. So Robbie Gordon's son, Max Gordon, off-road legend. I think he's gonna go into IndyCar, and he's only like 15.
How's Grosjean doing this year? He's still.
Did you watch the $1 Million Challenge this weekend?
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty cool. The concept was great. The racing wasn't as good as I thought it was gonna be.
So what's a con? I haven't even heard of it.
So they went to the track in Thermal. Do you know where that's at?
No.
So it's Palm Springs, just outside of Palm Springs.
Okay.
It's a private car club.
Why didn't we go?
I just found out about it like Friday. A. B. I don't even think they would have let us rednecks in because it's like ballers, like multi. Actually, I just read that Max bought a villa there too, at Thermal Car Club.
Thermal. Is that the one? I know which one you're talking about. Yeah. It maybe is different now, but I think it's the one where you had like you flew in your private jet, you got your own like house there that you can.
They have a house
in the garage.
I don't know if they have I don't know if they have a landing strip there, but I did a lot of like actually when I was
like a private race course.
Yeah, it's private. The M Club goes there. Yeah. Actually, I had a guy when I worked at Enterprise. He flew into I think he flew into Ontario, picked up a car, and then he drove out there just to roll up because he wasn't even driving it on the track. It was hilarious. He rolled up in one of this Maserati really bad. Drove out, and we didn't have it yet, so we gave him a Corvette to go drive out there. So then Saturday, I had to go deliver this Maserati so I could sit in the fucking parking lot.
Yeah.
So he could flex, and they were doing the M test or whatever. Track was cool, the layout was cool, but the biggest thing. So basically, they do a bunch of testing days, or not a bunch of testing. They do a bunch of testing Friday. Qualifying is Saturday for the heats, and then the heats. So it's like your whole IndyCar field is there, but it's not points paying. It's just $1 million up for grabs.
Okay, so it is like whoever wins $1 million.
First place gets 500.
Okay.
And they break it out to
$1 million total purse.
$1 million total purse.
Okay.
Actually, I think it was over $1 million, but it was like 500, 350, 250, 100 to like fourth or fifth, and then from sixth to like.
And it's just IndyCar.
6 to 12, yeah. 6 to 12 was like 27,000. So if you make the show, you're still making 20 grand. So
because how many people did you have to qualify for?
Yeah, you had to qualify. So they only took 12 cars to the main.
Okay.
So that's
and IndyCar has a bunch of cars, right? Like 40, 50?
Yeah, they had like 40 cars.
Yeah.
So there's like
okay.
I want to say I for sure saw 30. There might have been all 40 there. So they do different test sessions to get the car set up. You get so many tires for that day. I think they got 7 sets for that day to test with. And then you get so many seconds of push to pass, which is
Who
like
sponsored that one?
I don't know. They didn't tell me.
Yeah.
Or I didn't see it. I know Firestone is their tire brand that they use.
Okay.
So and then also during the heats, you get so many seconds of push to pass, which is like kind of like their form of DRS.
Yeah.
So you push it gives you
but you get a certain amount for the entire race, right? To
yes.
use as you need.
Yeah. So as soon as you're out, you're out.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a cat and mouse game of like how much can you use, right?
Yeah.
Or how much can you save?
I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So it has a whole different strategy for it.
Yeah. So you don't get DRS every lap, right?
Yeah. And you're not recharging the battery as you're racing.
Yeah. So they 30 guys they go to qualifying, then they put you up in the heats, and then the top. Yeah, it was 2 heats because they took the top 6 from each heat. So watch that. Alexander Rossi made it into the show. So he drives for McLaren. Had a word, just missed it. He was 7th. So all the McLaren boys were like all right there. Alexander made the pass to get in, and then in the main, it's crazy to see Colton Herta was in it. He held back because you only get one set of tires for that 20 lap main. And they were saying at the end of 10 laps for the heats, they were getting like squirrely and like breaking loose and stuff like that. So that was a cool. I thought the concept was great. The
So
racing
did you
didn't.
pit stop during the race?
No, so it was weird. So they do 10 laps consecutively. Then they pull in to do a 10-minute break. They can adjust like they can adjust tire air pressure. They can't change the tires. And they can do wing adjustments, like wicker adjustments. That's it.
Interesting.
So, and then a couple guys had mechanical. Two guys had mechanicals. It was actually one guy had a mechanical. The other guy got docked on like a mechanical for not having enough fuel, but he limped it around to get there. So it was like super weird.
But it was sometimes you have to have a minimal amount, right, for F1.
Yeah.
And even if you get the car back, if you're below like a liter or whatever, you're screwed.
Yeah. So I don't know what officially happened. Why? Like they didn't let him keep going. So it ended up being 10 to go. Colton Herta, it was funny. He started last, and he was literally like 50 seconds down on the last lap because he was trying to preserve his tires. So he only got that one set of tires. He came back to fourth. On the at the 10 at the
one lap?
Yeah, no. So they do the 10 to get to the 10 laps, and the last 10 he pushed and got back to fourth.
So he saved a lot of tires and then just really went
because a lot of guys
the last leg.
Yeah, a lot of guys came out the gate like kind of sprinting and like, but they were worried about the tires.
Yeah. So once they cool down, do they obviously like then kind of like with the brake, do they warm up a little bit and have a little bit more tire life? You know, like is it would it be better to push at the beginning and then you get a cool off, or do you kind of roast them and then they're kind of roasted?
I feel like either like I don't know if there would have been a glaze to go back over it that you have to kind of re-brake through, right? Yeah. So I think based on the guy that won, he just had a sick car set up the entire time. Like his car was on rails the entire time. So like he sprinted at the beginning and then he kind of just cruised it home for the rest of the time. So I think it was just kind of dependent. I think both scenarios worked depending on how the situation planned out. There was crazy windstorms during qualifying though. Like I was watching it.
And it's been crazy windy here. Yeah. We're only a few hours away.
Yeah. So
yeah.
That was wild. But it was cool. It was cool, different. Then they're going to Long Beach Grand Prix in 2 weeks. No. It might be April. It might be like 3 weeks.
Okay.
So
when's our next race?
Next week, not this weekend. Next weekend.
Next weekend,
like the 6th, April 6th. 7th.
Where are we going?
Japan.
Is it Japan?
It might be Japan.
Either Japan or does China have a race this year?
I thought they said it was getting rid of that. Bear with me. Pause. I just looked at it this morning. I think it's Japan. Like,
sounds about right.
Yeah, Japan, China.
Okay, China does have a race this year.
So April 5th, 7th.
US, Coda or Miami? Yeah.
Miami.
Miami, right? Okay.
Then
by the way,
break,
Coda. How much are you paying for your tickets? Because I just saw they went on sale again.
$300, roughly.
Okay,
because I plus saw, fees. I think after fees it was between $600 and $700
for 2 tickets.
Yeah, for 2 tickets.
Okay,
that was all weekend. Those GA like Friday to Saturday.
Because I was looking, it's about like $370 or $380 or something like that per ticket for GA all 3 days.
You got it.
So I was like, oh man, can I justify and just tell Jen happy birthday?
I'm never with Rain on her birthday anyway, so it doesn't matter. This year I will be actually.
Yeah. I mean, Jen left me on our anniversary. So.
Her anniversary is really important anymore when you've been together so long. No. How long have you guys been together?
6 years now.
If you pass like 2, you're like, all right.
This is like 3 times longer than my longest relationship. I used to think I had this 2-year curse. I did, yeah, it was like just for whatever reason, relationships never lasted longer than that.
Probably not.
But this one,
not a bad thing.
Goes so far so good.
That's good.
But yeah,
I guess I could rent your room if anything bad ever does happen.
I know. I wonder if she'd let us keep the studio.
She's gonna charge us rent.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. She will.
I ain't paying it. Sorry guys, we're going under. F1 America's over.
I'm just gonna peel these off and stick them in your garage. It's a new studio setup.
If I put the second story in the RV garage like I want, that'd be sick.
That'd be sick.
Like that dude down the street here.
Up there.
Yeah. Have you seen that dude down the street?
I think so.
Yeah. With all the Chevys in the driveway.
Oh yeah.
That dude, like, I was like, God, I want to do that. I don't even want to know how much it costs though.
Dude, I think he's got a lift too. He's got all those cars in there too.
I think I did see that.
Mm-hmm.
I almost bought one the other day because I saw one for sale. I don't know where the hell I'm gonna put it.
Jen almost bought an i8.
Nice. Just because.
Yeah, she's like, I like. She want, her like dream car is an Audi R8.
I just saw one actually going on the 303 the other day.
Did you? Yeah. And so, although I said, for the price, you should probably just get a McLaren.
How much is the i8?
No, not for the i8.
Oh, okay.
For the R8.
How much is the R8?
The R8, the new ones are like
I didn't know they're
200 plus.
production.
Yeah. So there's one on Marketplace right now, an 18 for 130.
R8.
That's pretty cool. The i8s have depreciated a ton.
Oh, I know. That's what I was saying. I've seen a couple for like cheap.
And so now you can
relatively
get them.
speaking.
You can get them like 55 to
I'll say
70.
I thought around 60. I thought I've seen a couple
around 60 for a decent like low mileage. There's potentially some issues with them.
Like the batteries.
The battery, yep, the engine, the motor, I guess, the electric motor. Like every 3 to 5 years, it's got to be changed or something like that. So, but as far as like supercars go, the cost for maintenance is relatively low. It's got the cool doors, the like butterfly.
Oh yeah.
I mean, one of my friends actually had one. It's cool. For when it first came out, it was 150 grand.
Yeah.
For 150 grand, it's underperforming. For 60 grand, it's badass. I mean, and
I'll just go buy that. That's fine.
I don't know. I think what's cool about the i8 is it's 10 years old, but you would like it looks like it's made for today.
It doesn't look old.
It doesn't look old at all. Even
the
interior doesn't look old.
I was stoked on when they came out.
Dude, I remember I was actually in London when it first came out, and I saw it in the showroom. Like, that was so cool. Yeah, I don't know. They're cool. So we'll see.
I was like, my camera went off and said
that it wouldn't be a good financial investment.
Probably not.
Like, nah, but it'd be fun. I like cars.
I went in. I don't know. Well, for you guys, it probably wouldn't matter because you're not that tall. The R8 is small inside.
Yeah, we're little people, so we are built
inside.
for supercars.
Huracan, small inside as well.
Yeah, all of them are tiny.
Aston Martin DB11 is the best car out.
Well, they're more of like almost like a Grand Tour, right?
No, it's a V10.
Yeah, but it's more of like a GT car versus a hypercar, right?
Oh, I don't know.
The Valkyrie would be their like hypercar, and I bet it's hard to get into.
I don't know. But it's still 200 plus.
They're cool too.
Like
they're cool.
240.
I like those.
That was the best.
I like the new V8 Vantage. I've always liked the V8 Vantage, even though it's kind of their like lower. But then like they look dope, man. Like the pace car.
Oh yeah.
Is a V8 Vantage.
Got it.
Although it's like a super sicked out one.
Yeah.
I
take that SUV.
The SUV's
the
cool.
Safety car, whatever.
Yeah, or the medic car.
Yeah.
I saw at the auction at the Barrett Jackson this year they had one of the Aston Martin Race Edition.
Oh, nice.
Or I guess F1 Edition or something. I forget, but I want to say it was like 300 or something like that. I forget, but it was cool. That green is fucking so mint in person. It's dope.
Do you have anything else? Let me say, Rob, I think, Max Gordon, I think, is going to IndyCar at some point because he said he wants to do open wheel. In a video like this last week, wants to get into. Because they asked him, is he going to go into off road racing? He's like, yeah, it's hard to make a living in off road racing. He's like, I think we're going to have him do some open wheel racing.
Yeah.
So I mean, like the only thing that makes sense is be IndyCar.
That's the only federation we have here, right?
F1. I mean, I don't know if he's going to have him kart at all, but I would think he would already be karting though. I mean, he's already driving super truck. It's like off road.
How old is he?
15.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's still got time, but.
Well, look at Leah Block is in F1 Academy.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
Yeah.
I'd love to see like her progress through. I mean, there's never been a female Formula One driver.
I don't know if it's going to happen. As much as I would love to see it, I don't.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of other fast girls out there that would probably do well as well. Like Jessica Hawkins. The Aston Martin girl. She's super fast. And she races other shit too. So like
Bianca, the McLaren girl.
Yeah.
Although
I heard she didn't do that good.
She didn't look that good in the race. Yeah. Like I think she's good though. Like I think she's won a lot.
Yeah.
Just that F1 Academy race last weekend didn't seem great.
No, I mean, but it's kind of like when you go for a dirt bike race, right? Like you might be the baddest man jam at your local track, but then you go to Loretta's or you go to show up at Anaheim One, and
Yeah,
you have all the baddest dudes being there. So like
Yeah.
Leah's the baddest girl here, and then you got Jessica who's the baddest girl in London, and then you got
Yeah.
Bianca who's the baddest girl in the Philippines. And you put them all there, and they all suck, and some girl that you never even heard of. So works everybody.
well,
So
and sometimes it's track specific too, right?
Yeah,
Like you're just not good at that one track that happens to be the biggest circuit or whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
I think
So,
I think it'll take some time to get used to that car too, because
Yeah.
Leah did some she did that not Formula E, the off road E, whatever it was, and with the McLaren team, I thought it was.
I don't
There's
know.
the one in the middle of the desert. I forgot
Is
what
it-
it was.
Not
Okay.
the Dakar.
No, it wasn't the car.
Is
It
it
was
the
like
same one that Lewis has the team?
It might have been that, and she did that last year, and they did pretty well. She bumped out of a couple, like she was on the bump spot, and she got out, and so
What is that league called? It's like 4x4E or
Extreme
something
E?
like
I don't know if
that.
it's Extreme E.
Extreme E, maybe that's what it
I don't
is.
know.
Yeah, Lewis has a team.
Well, did I heard he's shutting it down?
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
They're just not performing or what?
Like,
I think they were doing good.
I think a combination of I think that was part of like the why he ended
The
up
deal.
leaving Mercedes, because they didn't want to keep supporting him.
Oh,
They
maybe.
wanted to keep throwing money at it.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
I
Interesting.
want to say that. I could be wrong. I thought, but I kind of read that like somewhere that is coming to an end.
Yeah, unless Ferrari wants to take over.
I mean,
I don't-
at this point, I think it's obviously Lewis isn't doing it. It's probably a tax write. No, like not a tax write off, but you know what I mean. It's like a promotional thing. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, throw Lewis's name on the side of the car. He throws some money at it.
Well, I think he owned the team.
that did he,
Yeah,
or he's getting out. I don't know. That's
Maybe.
what I saw that somewhere.
maybe. I don't know. Maybe the Federation's not that popular
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the whole thing could be going under.
because I've never seen.
never seen tells about it. The only thing I saw from it was when Leah was racing and they were reposting a bunch
Yeah,
of shit.
yeah. I just I followed the team because of Lewis, but I don't.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything in my news feed, but you know how social media is.
Yeah, you'll see something from 2 days ago. I'm like, why am I seeing this now?
I'm
I
seeing
never
it
saw it.
from
I never.
weeks ago
Yeah, I
now.
never saw it. I'm like,
Weeks ago.
So
Weird. All right, guys. Well, like, share, subscribe. Thanks for tuning in.